this Photoshop Elements video, we'll be taking a regular photograph and then adding in a wall logo sign into the photograph. This is our finish, and we begin with that right there. So there you go. If you enjoy this video, please subscribe to the channel. Also check out my channel. Take a look at my other videos. I have several hundred videos up there for you to enjoy. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We'll be starting from scratch on this video, so let me just close this down. There we go. Here's the original photo. We'll be getting to that in just a second. We'll start off with a brand new file. File, New, Blank File. Now I have this set at the default Photoshop Elements size, which is 6 by 4 inches at 300 pixels per inch, or in pixels, that's 18 by 1200. There we go. I'll just dock that. There it is. Let's now go over to our photo bin, and I'll bring up our photo. Now if you don't know how to float your windows like this, easy to do. Just go up to the Edit menu, Preferences, and General. First page right there, General page. Right down here, Allow floating documents in expert mode and Enable floating document window docking. Make sure that both of those are checked. Okay, and then you can drag it up and dock it, or pull it down and float it. It's that easy. Now for this, have this in the floating mode. Grab the background layer, drag it onto our new file just like that, and then just close that down. Now the file is too big, as you can see in here, so I'm going to close the photo bin, and then I'll pull this up to the top and to the left, kind of snaps into the top left corner. If it's not snapping for you, check your View menu and snap to Document Bounds. Make sure that's checked. Now that it's here, I can pull the sides in. Just pull that side in, and let's get that tool options out of the way. There we go. Pull the bottom up. Just going to pull the side and the bottom in so they all snap to the edges, and choose OK. It just resizes that to fit into our window. There you go, step 1 done, which is just getting the background in here. Next, let's bring in our text. I'm going to set our colors back at their defaults down here. Click on that little icon, and that puts these at the default setting. And then go up to our Type tool. I'm using a type called Berlin Sans FB Bold. If you don't happen to have this one, there's a chance that you will. If you don't happen to have it, though, you can find this online as a free download. Just do a search online for Berlin Sans FB Bold, and you'll find that, I'm sure. I have the size here set at 94 point. You can use actually any font that you want. I picked this just because it's big, fat font. You know, a lot of black area in this. You know, Bauhaus 93, this would work as well. Arial Black would work as well. Any of these use real thick typefaces will work out just fine. Okay, bold, color is black, size is 94 point. I'll click in here any old place, and then I'll type in ski just like that. Now I want to have this kind of overlapping the lamp, so let's set the opacity down about halfway down, and then I'll bring this up kind of like that. I'm going to zoom in and show you where I'm positioning this. It's not real critical, but it's a nice little touch to think about. There we go, so you can see the lamp through. Now what I want to have is the lamp about a third in from the right hand side, and this line about a third or so, or two-fifths up into the edge here. You don't want to have it lining up like that on the edge. You don't want to have the edges touching like that. Just want to kind of move things away from the edges, and so they're not really at any specific spot like in the middle or in the middle here. So just, you know, kind of over there. All right, let's set this back to 100% opacity, and I'll set our view back to fit on screen. There we go. So there's the type. That's our basic type layer. Everything is built with this as our starting point. So let's go to that type layer. We're going to be doing 3 sets in here. One set is for our outline, one set is for our background glow, and one set is for the letters themselves. We'll start off with the outline letter. So take the type layer, drag it up to the new layer button just like that, and that's our type copy, or it says ski copy. Double click on the name, and let's just rename this. This will be the outline. So that's our ski outline. Right click again on the name itself and simplify the layer. It just makes it into a graphic instead of being in text like we have down here. You can then hide this. We'll come back to that in a little bit. So here we go. Here's our outline. Now I need to do a lot of stuff on this one. Let's put a new layer above this layer. There we are, new layer. We still have our default colors, black and white. And we're going to fill this layer with fibers. Go up here to the filter menu, come down to render and fibers. Here we go. The setting I used on this was variance of 5, strength of 64. Yours will not look exactly like this. This comes in randomized every time. If I change the variance around like this, it'll look a bit different. Let me type back in 5, and it comes in a little bit different than I had before. If I change the strength here to 3, put it back to 64, again, it comes back in a little bit different. So yours won't be exactly like mine, but it'll be close. It'll be basically the same kind of a look. Choose OK, and that fills that layer with this kind of a thing. Now I want to rotate this around a little bit. So go up here to Image, Rotate, come down here where it says Free Rotate Layer, click on that, and then down below set this at 30 degrees and hit the green check. There we are. That's our rotation. This is the texture for the letters. Now to make that work, right click up here where it says Layer 2, right click on that and create clipping mask. There we go. It just puts that inside of the letters. You could also go up here to Layer and create clipping mask will be right there. So there that is. We're now going to do a few adjustment layers. I'm doing a lot of stuff on adjustment layers in this video so that you can go back and easily make changes or adjustments later on if you feel like changing the look of this. So our first adjustment layer is going to be hue saturation on this. So go up to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, Hue Saturation, and where it says Use Previous Layer to create clipping mask, check that and choose OK. There we go. Click on Colorize, and it should say Hue 0. Leave that as is. Set saturation at 35, and then we're going to be setting our lightness. We're going to make this darker. Set this at negative 68. Just kind of darkens the whole thing down like that. There we go. Now I want to be able to easily tweak this setting in here, the color of this or the contrast of that. So let's make a new adjustment layer, Layer, New Adjustment Layer, Brightness Contrast. Again, use previous layer for a clipping mask. There you go. Leave the brightness at 0. Bring the contrast all the way to the left at negative 50. See, it kind of softens things up a little bit in there. Okay, so far so good. I want to warm the whole thing up a little bit. Again, the reason I'm using these adjustment layers is so I have a lot of control to go back in the future and make adjustments. You may not need that. You can do it all on the one layer, but this gives you that option. Okay, Layer, New Adjustment Layer. This time we're going to be doing Photo Filter. Again, check that checkbox right there. Choose OK. The warming filter is up by default. That's the one you want anyway. Warming filter 85. Set the density to 50%. And there we go. It's a subtle thing. There you go. Just kind of subtle. There's a little bit of a purplishness to the hue saturation. This just kind of cleans that out. Makes it a little warmer. Just a real small adjustment. Okay, so far so good. So we have our background in here now. That's our background, or what I call the outline layer. At this point, if you're using Photoshop Elements 15, you can put all these things into a group. Just hold your Shift key down, click on the ski outline that from, select, and let's just undo that, hit that by accident. There we go. So our top one is selected. Hold the Shift key, click down here, hit that button, and that then puts those all into a group. I'll leave these ungrouped right now for anybody who doesn't work with Photoshop Elements 15. We'll go through it at that level, and then we'll put the groups into it at the end of the video so you can see how that's done. Okay, so that's our first set. Now we're on to our next layer and our next lettering. Come back down here to where it says Ski, to our Ski layer. Drag this up to the New Layer button right there, Ski Copy. Let's hide that original layer. Double click where the name is, and this is going to be our text layer. There we go. Right click on the name and simplify layer. Now take this and drag this layer above everything else. See that dark line in there? As I drag that, put that dark line clear to the top, and it moves that above everything else. So that's our next section we'll be working up here. Okay, now that we have this, I don't want to have this as thick as the last one so you can see our outline. So we're doing an outline kind of by actually shrinking the top text and showing what's in behind. So I want to shrink this down. So hold your control key down or command key on a Mac, click on the icon over here, and that selects the contents of that layer. In this case, that's your text. Let's now go up here to select, modify, and contract, and set that at 15 pixels. Choose OK, and that shrinks that down by 15 pixels. Now back up here to select inverse. That selects the outside area. Now just hit your delete key, and it deletes that outside and leaves the inside. Let's go ahead now and deselect. If I zoom in, we can work zoomed in now for a while. There we go. There's zoomed in. You can see there's the new text, and we've just cut off that outside bit, leaving it kind of an outline. So that's why that's called the outline. Okay, we're still on our ski text layer. We now need to put our textures and stuff on this layer. We've already made our texture down here, so we'll take this layer 2, drag this up to the new layer button, like that. Take this, pull it up above your text layer. There we go. Right click. Actually, first, before you do anything else, let's go up to Image, Rotate, and flip layer horizontal. It just reverses that. And then right click and clipping mask. Now when we made that duplication down here, it released the clipping mask on these 3 layers. We need to fix that. So click on a layer, right click, clipping mask. Click on your next layer, right click, clipping mask. Click on your next layer, right click, and clipping mask. And you can get all those back in again. There we go. Okay, so far so good. Now I want to have all of our coloration and stuff in here on this one. So again, click on this top layer. We'll do the same thing we did down below. Slightly different settings, but not much. They're basically the same settings. So the first one we have is our colorization. So layer, new adjustment layer, hue, saturation. Clip to our layer. There we go. Colorize. Leave that at 0. Set this at 35. That gives us the same browns we had before. And then on lightness, set the lightness at negative 46. So it's not as dark. You can see they're not as dark. And set that down. So far so good. Now we need to do our brightness contrast layer. So layer, new adjustment layer, brightness contrast. Make sure you click on that clipping. Set, leave the brightness as, actually bring the brightness down a little bit. Do a negative 10 on the brightness. And contrast clear to the left, which is negative 50. You already see here there's kind of a slight purplish tone to that compared to the outside. That's where our photo filter comes in. Okay, close that one down. We're still on that same brightness contrast layer. Back up here, layer, new adjustment layer, photo filter. Make sure you clip to that. There's our warming filter. Set that at 50% and close that down. And now it's nice and warm. Okay, so we have that in place. So far, so good. One more little effect on this one. We're going to give it kind of just a slight edge around this, a slight warm little small glow on this. We also want to have a glow caused by that lamp in the background as well. So let's do a couple of those things in here. We'll do a new layer. So new layer, there we go. Now I want to have this layer clipped to everything else. Right click, clipping mask. It just clips it to those other layers just like that. We're okay. Now we're going to grab our paintbrush. Set your brush size at 200 pixels and click on the foreground color. We'll be doing a yellow in here, and the one I'm using is FFF5C7 right there. Just kind of a warm, soft yellow. And choose OK. So warm, soft yellow, big brush as you can see. And I want to kind of brush around in here, around here, a little bit over here, and a touch down there. So that's what we're doing. Okay, so kind of over here, a little bit in here, a little touch over there, a little touch here. Just a bit there and a bit right down there. Now obviously that looks pretty bad, so we're going to blend this in and go up here to where it says normal. Click on that, come down to soft light, and that blends that in. Just kind of softens it up, gives a bit of a variation in there. Now I want to have it brighter up along the tops in here and a little bit on this edge. So we'll do another layer. This one I'm going to call our glow. This will be our layer glow, or lamp glow. It's kind of the glow from this lamp right there. That's our lamp glow layer. Let's do another layer. Right click, clip that in. This is going to be, I'm just going to call this lamp highlight. It's not really a highlight, but the name's close enough for our use. Okay, reverse the colors here. So we have white as our foreground. Back to the paintbrush and set this now at 70 pixels. And we're going to come back in here and just do a bit of white right in the corner like that, a little bit in here, a little bit here, just a touch there, and a little bit right there. Same thing again. We're going to blend this down with a soft light and just get a little bit brighter edge right in there. This will all make sense once we get this whole thing finished. Okay, now one last thing to do. I want to get a little bit of a glow in here on our letter in front of our outline. Let's go back to our ski text layer right there. We're going to make a new layer behind this layer. So new layer, drag it down underneath that layer. There we go, just like that. Now hold down the control key, click on the icon for the ski text layer that selects the text. Move back down to our new layer, make sure on the new layer here. Reset this back to, just reverse those back to our yellow color. Grab the paint bucket and click on fill. That fills that layer with the yellow. If I hide this, you can kind of see that. There it is. So it fills that with that yellow. Okay, now deselect, or the control D shortcut. And we're going to be softening this up just a little bit. Filter, blur, and Gaussian blur. And I have it set at 4. It gives us just a real soft edge in there. Now, of course, you could have come in and you could have done a layer style on this layer with a glow on the layer style. It comes in a lot harder. It doesn't come in as soft as this does. This is a bit softer and it's more controllable. So it's kind of a special look, special effect on there. So there it is. That's going to be our letter glow. Just a little touch, little effect in there. Okay, that finishes off the letters. All that big stuff in there finishes off our letters. We're now going to be moving down and putting a glow behind everything in here. That's our next step. So let's come down our layers. This actually is this kind of a project with all these layers. This is where Photoshop Elements 15 is real nice by being able to group things. You'll see that in just a few minutes. We'll do that as our last step. Okay, come down here to our ski outline layer. We can use that one, or come down to the original. That's fine as well. I'll use the original ski. Grab this, drag it up to the new layer button, just like that. Right click on the name and simplify layer. It's in black. And let's just hide everything else. Now, if you have all these kind of layers in here, it's best if you go from the top to the bottom. So I'll just work my way on down, hide all of these things. If these things were in groups, I could just hide just the group and everything would be hidden all in one shot. Okay, so there's the lettering right there. Everything else is hidden. And we still have our yellow. Grab the paint bucket, make sure that contiguous is not checked, and click into the letter. That selects them all. If contiguous was checked, it would only fill just the one letter. I mean, you could fill, fill, and fill. Also works. Okay, so there's our fill on that. I want to soften that down to make our background glow. So we'll do the same trick. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur. This time let's set this at 19.5. There we go. Gives us a nice kind of a soft blur in there. Ignore that black. That's that background lettering. I'll just hide that. Just kind of softens the whole thing up like that. Now, this isn't as much as I want yet. I want to have a lot more color in here. So let's grab this. I'm going to be duplicating this layer 2 more times. So duplicate it once. There we go. Drag it up again. Duplicate it a second time. Makes it real heavy, as you can see. 3 layers. Hold the Control key down. Click on all 3 layers. Or click on the top. Hold the Shift key. Click on the bottom. So all 3 layers are selected. Right click and merge layers. So they're all now just one layer. Let's now convert this into our actual glow, and that's by using the blending mode and overlay. And it does that, kind of puts a glow onto the wall. And if you look at the edges of the glow, it's very similar to this glow over here. Different colors, obviously, but very similar effect to that, and that's what we're looking for in there. It looks great once you put the image on. Now this is a softer glow because the light is further away. This is a harder edge and brighter because the light behind the letters is closer to the wall. That's why we have it like that. Okay, that's our first stage glow. We can leave that one alone. Come back down to our original letter layer. Grab that, drag it up here to the new layer button. There we go. Same thing again. Right click on the copy, simplify layer. Let's fill this one with white. So reverse our colors. Back to the paint bucket, click that, fill that with white. And I want just a little softness on the edge of this one, but same idea. And that's filter, blur, Gaussian blur. This time set the blur at 4. And okay, let's hide our original letters. There we go. It's kind of a soft edge. Take this layer, drag it above the ski copy 3 right there. There we go. Bring that one back in again. So we have our glow in the background and a little glow up here. We now can bring all of our lettering back in again. I'll just go straight down the line here and show everything. There we are. So there's the lettering, there's the glow in the background, here's a little glow edge. Now there's one more thing to do, and that's that lamp is sitting in behind. As you can see, it's kind of hiding in behind. I want the lamp in front. So for that, let's just hide everything again. Again, this is someplace where having these things in layer groups, which you can do in Photoshop Elements 15, is real nice. And again, I'll show you those groups as our very last step here. This is for everybody who doesn't have version 15 yet. Okay, come down to the original layer, grab the magnifying glass, the zoom tool, and let's zoom in on the lamp. Right there, that's good. Grab the polygonal lasso tool, set the feathering at 1 pixel, and we're going to make a selection right around the edge of this lamp. So I'll start at the top here, and it's working just right around the edge. And try to get right where the edge kind of changes, kind of blurs from the object, from the lamp, into the wall behind. That's right where you're looking. Now with this tool, just click, move your tool to your next spot, click, and just kind of put clicks around your object, and then Photoshop Elements fills in the line. When you're using this tool, take your time with it, because if you click too quickly, it collapses your selection, and we don't want to have that. You have to start over again. So take your time with this particular tool. It's not that much to do here, so that's fine. And just come right back around, back to your starting point. And when you get to the starting point, you'll see a little 0 to the right of your tool. Click at that point, and that makes your selection. Now let's go up here to select, actually to layer. There we go, layer, new, via copy. Double click on the name. Let's rename this. I'll call this one lamp photo. Take that and drag this clear to the top. It may take a couple of steps here to do this. Go clear to the top with that. Very top photo. It's now sitting above everything else, and now we can come back down and show everything again. Just work on down, make sure that everything is showing except for our last ski down there. Okay, back up to view, come down to fit on screen, and there we go. There is our ski logo, wooden ski logo on the wall with a backlit on it and all that fun stuff, and the lamp is now in front of instead of behind. Of course, actually just that one little piece is in front, but there you go. That's how to do that logo, kind of lettering logo sitting on a wall. Okay, that finishes off how you would do this in most modern versions of Photoshop Elements. Let's now do the one little additional thing that you can do in Photoshop Elements 15, which makes things a lot nicer. Go up here to our top, and I'm going to take a look at the top lettering section that starts up here at the lamp highlight. Hold the Shift key down, come down to letter glow just below our ski text. All of that is for the inner lettering. That's everything involved with the inner lettering. Hit the Create Layer Group button right there, and let's just name this one Ski Text. That's our ski text. Okay, next one, come down, click on the top layer here, come down to where it says Ski Outline, hold the Shift key down, click on that, that selects all of that. Click on the new button right here, the Create New Layer Group button. This is our outline, so double click here. That's our ski outline, and then click on these two layers. These are our glows, and again, new layer group, double click on this and call that one glow. There's the original text. We don't need that. That was just in there for our, getting our text. But you can see how much nicer this is in Photoshop Elements 15. This is the nicest part of the new program, actually, is that you can take this and put multiple layers into these groups and then show or hide the groups and work on just the group and its contents. It makes it much easier to see what's going on in here. Now, if I was doing this video just for Photoshop Elements 15 people, I would have set up my groups and then put my layers into my groups as I was working, so I only had to look at just the contents of that group and not have anything else to be confused by. So if you weren't in Photoshop Elements 15, you have this kind of a thing. As you saw, this works as long as you pay attention. This works out just fine, but it's sure nice to be able to put these things into groups and then collapse those groups like that. So there you go. That's how to do that ski logo, and also a little bit about using the new layer groups function in Photoshop Elements 15. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you found it useful. If you like this video, click on the like button below to let others know. You can click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos in the future. I'm frequently uploading new training videos. Don't forget to check out my website at howtogurus.com. You can share this video with your friends and coworkers. Just click on share and then click on the social media buttons. Feel free to comment on my videos. I try to answer all comments as quickly as I can.